check me from Earth 33, 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 check me from Earth, check me from Earth 33, check me from Earth 33, check.
As a seasoned comic book enthusiast, DC anthologies is something that I tend to resist as a completionist. Granted, as the years waned on throughout my tenure in dissecting the panels, I had to learn that some stories just aren't for me. So when it comes to DC's Hot Girl Summer Special, I find it irritating that this anthology does not contain a table of contents, so I can know which creators and or characters I am actually interested in reading about, so I don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I understand the title of this book is effeminate, but foolishly, I thought that the entire book would actually contain stories about Hawk Girl, which is why I picked it up. Granted, the Megans, Fitzpatrick and Hetrick short was amazing. All that I would want in a Hawk Girl story, featuring an incarnation of her day-tripping over her past lives and a mysterious link between Catwoman, which only made me, a Leo who ended up changing his Anglic birth, brave, lion-like moniker to one of an ancient city in Mesopotamia that worshipped cats, more ecstatic. Linking Selena and this version of Hawk Girl together with Egyptian mythology that made icons like Heru and Bastet famous is the type of lore I was satisfied that this caper paid homage to, while these two familiar faces behind the story that share the same name finally got a chance to link up. I respect what the story did, and it gave someone hesitant to pick up an anthology like this a good reason to be reading it. But alas, this was just a short. The remainder of the anthology featured an extremely annoying story that threw nearly every homosexual DCU character in as many as 5 pages. I had to skip this, because why would I want to read about Superman's son's boyfriend or about which letter in LGBTQ the smartest Robin is identifying with now? And of course, these panels, drawn by Andrew Drillin, prominently feature both Natasha Irons and Aqualad, the double minority boxes with sexual orientation and ethnicity just being ticked off. This Josh Cirillo short is mailed in and unnecessary. The Grace Thunder short after, with Sabak playing antagonist, Hotter Than Hell, was far more authentic, especially given that these two characters were an out-the-closet couple and multi-ethnic back in the early 2000s before these groupings became a cheap tool for marketing. There's a story with the transvestite Flash too that I paid less attention to than when Giselle Shaw was in the ring on my recent trip to Philly's legendary ECW arena. Why does anything with girl in the title have to be bogged down with homosexual content when it comes to these DC anthologies? That wasn't the case with DC Studios' recent Supergirl flick. Tomboys and all, none of the characters engaged in any explicit homosexual activity. Which brings me back to Lim and McCall's short with Thunder and Grace. They are the only couple in the entire anthology and the only ones that display any true affection for each other, while the bulk of the anthology just puts all these other homosexual characters in the panels as a PR stunt. Tasteless. And I peep how the direct lead-in after Grace and Thunder lock lips at the end of their tale goes into a Kid Eternity short where Rafael Perez draws her about to puke. Now, our Fortino's story is not a bad way to introduce Jeff Lemire's brainchild to the greater DCU, having Kid Eternity spill out from the pages of JSA to take on Black Madden out of all of the members of the Legion of Doom. But throughout the story, Kid Eternity suffers not from seasickness, but food poisoning from eating off a seafood platter. I'm not a woman. I'm not homosexual. But I understand that slur is intended for lesbians, and I find R. Fortino's dig not clever, but insulting, as it was intended to be. If you don't want to be a part of the anthology, then why bookend it with a dig at their intended audience, especially when homosexuals are one of the biggest demographics that purchase comic books? I didn't want to read a bunch of stories where homosexuality was paraded around as a gimmick, so I didn't. But it would have been far easier to navigate this anthology if DC would have attached a damn table of contents to it like Marvel does with Voices, or like other smaller companies like Valiant with their recent Street Fighter Versus that came out on the same shelves this week. Force-feeding readers homosexual content is a tacky way to try to sell an agenda instead of what DC should be focusing on, which is selling books. I'm not going to go the route of insulting homosexuals like R. Fortino did subtly with his contribution to this anthology, but that doesn't mean I won't continue to exercise my willpower and turn the page to another story if I don't identify with the characters being pushed in front of me. DC needs to understand that just because a book has a girl on the cover, it doesn't mean that it needs to appeal to a homosexual audience. Heterosexual males like myself are glad Carter Hall isn't in this book macking on Kendra out of jealousy because we copped the book because we're attracted to Kendra, not Carter. But that doesn't mean we'd rather see Kendra shipped off with Selena. Better luck next time, DC.
Check me from Earth 33. 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 Check me from Earth check me from Earth 33. Check me from Earth 33. Check